seems like old times, having you to walk with, and it's still a thrill. Just
are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself.
There you go, baby, here am I. Well, you've left me here so I could sit and cry. Well, golly gee, what have you done to me? Well, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Do you remember, baby, last September, how you held me tight each and every night? Well, whoops-a-daisy, how you drove me crazy, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. There's no use in me crying. I've done everything and now I'm sick of trying. I've thrown away my nights and wasted all.
A law was made a distant moon ago here. July and August cannot be too hot. And there's a legal limit to the snow here in Camelot. The winter is forbidden till December, and exits March the 2nd on the dot. By order, summer lingers through September in Camelot. Camelot, Camelot. I know it sounds a bit bizarre.
Standing on me, measuring me, staring at me, measuring me. Everywhere I look, I can see her face. I can see her face, see it everywhere. And when I close my eyes, it stays. And like a leaf whirls on a wind, around my mind it plays. If in my two hands I could hold her face, while my fingertips kiss her eyes.
Well, here we are again on Mia's World, and welcome to Mia's World. Welcome to my world. Thank you for entering my world. Thank you to Jade Zabrich for the fabulous engineering. And here we are on a Tuesday night. It's pretty cold in New York City, and wherever you are, we're trying to try to warm you up. And tonight I have a really special guest on tape, but still alive and radiant as ever. It's Ilona Royce Smithkin. She's a painter, an artist, a living, beautiful, exuberant soul. She wrote 99 Straight Up No Chaser and Joy Dust. they're just tremendous. And recently, I'd seen her in the West Village for many years, but recently she moved to Provincetown, Cape Cod, and I happened to see her up there in October, and we did this splendid interview. So we're going to be playing the interview. I wish you were here, Ilona, but you're here in spirit. So thank you so much. So let's get started with the music that we play every week on Mia's World. We play music based on who was born the day of the broadcast, or what events happened the day of the broadcast, or what my guest likes, preferably. So tonight, here's what we heard. First, Moonlight in Vermont, my theme song, which is based on a haiku, and it's written by Carl Susdorf, and I just love the moon. And last week we did a full moon special with John Weber. Tonight it's still a little glint of the full moon, but not really, it's fading out. So we heard Moonlight in Vermont, the Stan Getz version, my all-time favorite. Then Alfred Brendel, the Austrian pianist born today, January 5, 1931, played part of a Schubert impromptu in E-flat major, which I used to play when I was a little girl playing piano and taking lessons. So very nostalgic. Alfred Brendel, Schubert impromptu. Another great Italian classical pianist, Maurizio Pollini, born today in 1942, and that was Chopin Nocturne number 6 in G minor, Opus 15, number 3, if you're keeping tabs. Then the great actress Diane Keaton, born today in 1942, so that makes her 78. Is that even possible? So not a lot of people know that she sang in Annie Hall. She sang 2 songs in Annie Hall. It Had to Be You and Seems Like Old Times. That was the great Seems Like Old Times. Diane Keaton, happy birthday. Then American rock guitarist and co-founder of Blondie, Chris Stein, born January 5, 1950 with Heart of Glass. Bradley Cooper, born today in 1975, and that was his famous Shallow, which he directed and sang, and in Stars Born with Lady Gaga. In 1959, on January 5, Buddy Holly released his last record, It Doesn't Matter, and he was killed in a plane crash 29 days later. So that was Doesn't Matter, Buddy Holly. Camelot, the great Broadway show, Lerner and Loewe, that was Richard Burton singing Camelot, and January 5, 1963, Camelot closed at the Majestic Theater in New York City after 719 performances. And then Carnival, another great Broadway musical starring very few people know that Jerry Orbach, famous for Law and Order, was also a great singer, and he sang in the Carnival Broadway show. And on January 5, 1963, Carnival closed at the Imperial Theater after 719 performances. And that was Jerry Orbach singing Bob Merrill's Her Face, a beautiful, beautiful song. And finally, Creedence Clearwater with Good Golly Miss Molly, originally Little Richard, but that was because January 5, 1969, Creedence Clearwater Revival released their second album, Bayou Country, featuring Good Golly Miss Molly. So we have a few announcements as usual. Today's birthdays include Constance Mozart, wife of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, born in 1762, January 5. We have Yves Tanguy, the French surrealist painter, born today in 1900 in Paris. Jeannette Picard, the American high-altitude balloonist and Episcopal priest, born January 5, 1895. The American actor from Superman, George Reeves, born January 5, 1914. American actress Jane Wyman, born January 5, 1917, first wife of Ronald Reagan. Sam Phillips, American record producer and founder of Sun Records. He launched Elvis Presley's career, born January 5, 1923. Alvin Ailey, the great African-American choreographer, born today in 1931. Actor Robert Duvall, also born today in 1931. Italian philosopher Umberto Eco, born January 5, 1932. Phil Ramone, the American music producer, co-founded A&R Records, born January 5, 1934. Hayao Miyazaki, the Japanese filmmaker, born in Tokyo in 1941. Jean-Pierre Roman, January 5, 1911, the French actor from Lily and Happy Hooker, born in Paris. And Charlie Rose, the American TV host, born today in 1942. And Mad Men's star January Jones, born in 1978, and French singer Pauline, born in 1988. A few facts for the trivia people in listening to us. January 5, 1887, the first U.S. School of Librarianship opened at Columbia University. And I went to library school at Columbia, so that's kind of important, significant to me. 1895, French Jewish captain Alfred Dreyfus was convicted of treason, publicly stripped of his rank, and later exonerated, January 5, 1895. A great, great date in nature lovers' history. January 5, 1905, the National Association of the Audubon Society, a nonprofit environmental organization, incorporated. 1914, industrialist Henry Ford announced his $5 minimum per day wage, doubling most workers' pay. 1930, Bonnie met Clyde. Bonnie Parker met Clyde Barrow for the first time. Bonnie and Clyde, the great duo. 1946, Showboat opened at the Ziegfeld Theater. 1950, Carson McCullers' famous movie, Member of the Wedding, premiered in New York City. And in 1970, the famous soap opera, All My Children, premiered on ABC. Today's holidays: National Bird Day. Watch those little birdies. National Whipped Cream Day. National Keto Day. It's 12th night since Christmas. National Screenwriters Day and National Monopoly Game Day. Somewhere we all have our Monopoly games stashed in the closet. And finally, before we hear Ilona Royce Smithkin interview, every week we rhyme the news to add some sparkle to the gloom. So here we go. Did an object fall out of the sky? UFOs in Hawaii? Oh my. Something glowing and blue over Oahu. Where, what, when, who, and why? Fashionista Diane von Furstenberg has a plan to boast her age, a philosophy sage, not to mention her suntan. A rockin' 74, she's like the girl next door, looking cute in a one-piece suit after a swim at the shore. McDonald's in a new phase with the latest poultry craze. Crispy chicken, big bucks, spicy classic deluxe, smothered with orange glaze. Fiat, Chrysler, and PSA-oh, one giant car merger-olé-oh. 14 brands in the sweep, Maserati and Jeep, Peugeot, Dodge, and Alfa Romeo. The deal only 52 bill. Where there's a way, there's a will. Bringing to fame, Stellantis the name. I'll just ride my scooter and chill. Bags of chips or jelly beans are the norm for vending machines. Guess we could have guessed. Now the COVID test. Will next pop out be vaccines? Was the election a fraud? Half the country will not applaud. The voter mess, maybe more is less. The system is quite flawed. Will Georgia have a fair race? Will there still be a trace that can't be denied? What's not verified? What's missing? A touch of grace. It's 12th night since Christmas Day, so sip and revel away. Play pantomimes and write some rhymes. Now where is my Chardonnay? And that's the rhyming wrap-up of the week. And I'm wearing purple or violet because the word violet has the word love in it. And Ilona Royce Smithkin is nothing if she's not the essence of love. She's written these two amazing books, Joy Dust, Ilona at 96, and 99, Straight Up No Chaser. And she's got the most incredible philosophy, wise, exuberant, effervescent, seizing life by the claws. And she's just a joy, a plain joy. She actually says, don't waste time on floor dust because you'll miss the joy dust. So here, without any further delay, is my interview with Ilona Royce Smithkin in Provincetown, October 2020. And we're here with Ilona. Well, I know you as Ilona. It's really Ilona Smithkin Royce. But we're here in her amazing waterfront apartment in Provincetown, Cape Cod. And Ilona, you look radiant. I don't know why certain people have the attitude that you have. I mean, you've acquired so much wisdom.
Well, that is why I wanted to write the last book which I wrote. Many people go through the same stages, but they have no way of expressing themselves, or their mind has gone. And I wanted to help as many people who were open. And I wrote down everything truly as it happens, without embellishment. And this is why I have the book at 99, straight up, no chaser, because I'm very honest about it. I don't make it fancy.
I know. I have them all. I have your incredible books, Joy Dust.
Oh, yes.
And 99 Straight Chaser. One of my favorite things that you say in the book, Joy Dust, is don't miss joy dust because of floor dust. That's perfect. Because I guess you mean don't be obsessed by mundane cleaning.
Yeah.
You
little
miss
silly things. They're not the important things. Pick up the thing which really has a meaning. You know, when I'm visiting with somebody, it's not how handsome, how good looking they are, even though it's nice to look at something nice. But I feel the person. If they are a nice human being, what more do you need, baby?
That's it. That's the gift of...
So my whole values have changed from the time when you're a youngster, when you're a teenager, when you go in your 20s and your 30s and so on. But the world has changed too. And many things not for the better. I mean, we have a tremendous mountain of technology. But with all that technology, our humanity is getting lost. You know, the feelings for people. Even so, I must say, I found my neighbors and many wonderful people here. You would never know unless you talk to them and become friendly with them. But there's so much heart, so much kindness, and wanting to help. And it's infectious. You want to do things for them.
Right.
At least I feel this way, you know.
Well, you're very unusual, and...
I guess I must be.
Well, do you think that's because of your upbringing as a child?
No. I had a very difficult childhood because I grew up in fear. I grew up in Nazi Germany, and there was never a day we weren't afraid of our lives. Somebody would come pick us up and kill us. Nobody here will understand unless you've gone through such a fear.
In Berlin? In Berlin,
yeah. And when I see young children here with their grandparents and their parents and the freedom, and they yell and they do everything, there's so much freedom and they have no fear. And that's a wonderful thing. And I don't think they really appreciate that wonderful freedom, you know.
Nobody in Manhattan, people don't want to travel from the Village to 14th Street to 59th Street, but our grandparents traveled across the ocean.
We used to walk there. We used to go to 59th Street by foot.
Right.
And we loved it. And we discovered little treasures, little shops, little things. But you know, we were brought up with much more, how can I say, we had to do something if we wanted to get something. Here you give everything to your children without them doing a thing. When they grow up expecting things to be handed to them. And that's very wrong. And you hear so often how parents said, I don't want my child to go through what I did. What did they go through? It's a big deal. And they take away the initiative of that kid, of this feeling. Look, when a baby is born, you see the baby carriage with all kinds of circus things and music and so. The child doesn't have a moment to hear raindrops, to have the new natural thing, you know. And it's sad because it has everything around them, and it doesn't need any entertainment.
Right, we used to play with simple cardboard boxes, right?
You know, I never had a doll, and I made my own toys.
You did?
Yeah, I picked up weeds on the street around the tree, and I played grocery store, or I did all kinds of fun things, you know, but you used your mind.
Imagination.
And that was wonderful.
Your mind.
Yeah.
Kids don't know that.
I'm sure, Mia, I'm sure I would not be alive anymore if I wasn't raised with a lot of discipline and a lot of, you cannot do that, but you can do that. you know.
The discipline is good
Yeah.
in
and
some ways.
respect.
Right.
And respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
Not a big thing today, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, you go through a door and a young person is in front of you.
They don't hold the
bang
door.
on your nose.
I know. And sometimes that happens and I say, thank you. So when did you start to paint or draw?
I always did, even when I was 4 or 5 years and when we went first school, grade school. But then the boys, we had boys on one side and girls on the other. The boys would beat me up because I didn't want to be shown off. So I decided I'm not showing anybody what I can do. So for many times I didn't even do any of the drawing. But then later on, of course, you know.
When you came here?
No.
Before?
My teachers would say to my parents she should learn some painting. She has very much talent. My father said, no, I don't want one of these crazy bohemians in my family. And then finally my mother begged him, and he finally said, okay, if she learns something practical, she can also learn that.
So what did you learn?
I learned how to make hats.
You did?
When I was 12 years old, I had a whole clientele.
Hats? Hats?
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of hat? Do you have one?
No.
Just
You know,
creations?
that's another thing. People ask me always about certain favorite things.
No.
At this point, everything in its own right
Has
a
meaning.
value.
Can you turn that off?
Anything happen?
No, it's just the phone.
Was
You
it
could
your
turn
phone?
it
Oh,
off.
take your call.
No.
It might be serious.
No,
What is
nothing
the
is
phone?
that serious. It's over there.
You know, that's one wonderful discovery I made in my old age. Nothing is so serious as people take it. People make so much out of something which is very, very unimportant, or at least not half as important as this thing.
Right, because do you think I wanted to ask you about memory and nostalgia and the past versus enjoying the present, you know? I mean, both are important, but
I know very little about my past, and I'm not even curious. And people always want to find out. They have ancestry, you know. I don't want to know about the family I come from. I don't want to know 100 years ago. I don't know if it's a prince or princess, or if it's a garbage looker. You know, what good is it? I am here, and I am now. And all the past was important because it built me to who I am now.
Right.
But I finally, after all these years, accepted myself and really like myself. And I live here on my own, and I enjoy it thoroughly.
Do you enjoy the
I
solitude?
love my quietness. Whenever I have visitors, I'm wondering, do I really want it?
I know.
I like the person, but it takes so much energy. And I haven't got it.
So that's why I appreciate you having...
Well, we make exceptions, you know.
exceptions to the rule.
I mean, look what I would miss if I would have missed you too.
Oh.
I mean, really, think about it. This is a very self-centered thing, that I open myself to whoever or whatever it is. If I don't like them, I have a choice of making it very short. 3 minutes.
Adios.
Maximum.
Or how do you say it in German? Goodbye.
Pardon?
How do you say goodbye in German?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen?
But that means to see you again.
Oh, so that's not it.
You want to say...
Goodbye forever.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Do you think that the painting... Does painting...
Did you look at my painting when you came up the stairs?
Yes.
Renoir. You're unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't have any other place.
Do you feel... Does painting make you feel happier, or does it take you outside yourself, or...
You know, I've asked myself the same thing. I think I must be the only person in the whole wide world I don't know how to say it and be honest about it and not give the wrong impression.
Mm-hmm.
I love what I did, and I learn all the time, even now. But it's not something where I would die if I couldn't do it.
Uh-huh.
When I'm losing my eyesight now,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can't do it, it's part of life.
You accept.
I love dancing. I danced all over. I took everybody else to dance. And I don't dance anymore. I don't miss one bit. My little apartment in the village in New York, I had wonderful times in it. It's gone. I gave it up.
That's it.
I don't miss one moment.
But that's wonderful, because then you don't regret.
No.
You don't spend wasted energy.
But it is part of my growing up. I don't deny it. You know, all the bad things which happened in my life. One moment.
Yeah. We're talking to Ilona, and we're on a beautiful sunny afternoon. Ilona wrote 99 Straight Up No Chaser and Joy Dust, and we're having a wonderful time in her apartment. You were saying, that you don't regret if you...
No, everything you've learned, even the bad things which happened to you, build your character. They make you the person who you are. Some people, like me, gained a lot of understanding. I do not judge anybody anymore, because you don't know what prompted them to do certain things. They have a whole lifetime behind them. So how can you take with one moment, judge somebody who worked so hard to get to the point they are, whatever it is? That doesn't mean I approve,
Right.
but I
You're
do
not.
not judge.
Well, you're very evolved, because a lot of people are not able to
I have a
do
lot
that.
of young people who come to me for advice.
Like
or
the guru. You're
help.
like the guru. Guru Ilona.
Oh my God.
Well, people really seem to need advice, and
Yeah.
they're lost. A lot of people are
But
lost.
I know, but I don't give them advice
Uh-huh.
because I think so. I always tell them, tell me the story first. And then I say, there are several doors. I show you several, but the choice is yours. Because I don't live your life.
Right.
I don't know what you really want.
Exactly. Well, that's wonderful advice, right?
You know, so I don't give them the advice, you should do this or this, because I think this way, because I'm a different person. I have a different background.
Right.
How could I possibly,
Exactly.
you know?
I loved also something. You're very...
And another thing,
Uh-huh.
excuse me,
Sure, go ahead.
when I see some TV shows, how the judgment goes, and some judges, and I think about how unfair this judgment is, because if they indict this person who took care of little children, who was so useful in so many things, they take away all the children and all the grown-up, their existence, because this man or this woman took care of all of them. So you know, all our laws should be reviewed really and seen so it would be fair.
You're very...
You know?
Yeah, that's a very humanistic
Yeah.
approach, you know.
And I think what people need a great deal is a re-education. Education about hating. Do you remember that song in The King and I? No, in South Pacific. You have to be carefully
Yes, taught.
to hate.
Rogers and
It's so
Hammerstein.
true, because when you're very small, you're open to anything. If you tell them this is no good, you carry that with you all your life. If you say, don't ever do that, and so, you know.
That's right.
And so, and our parents, we always hear the word, I come from a dysfunctional family.
I know.
The parents did the best they could.
That's right.
Nobody knew about psychoanalysis.
That's right. That's exactly right.
They clothed us, they gave us a roof and food.
They did the
What
best.
more do you want, baby?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
the rest is up to us, how we develop, which path We choose, you see.
Like Robert
When
Frost.
we're at a big party, we have a choice to choose the people we want to befriend. And sometimes we make the wrong choice, sometimes we make the right one. I must say one thing in my favor, that I was very proud that through all my life, when I found somebody who seemed to me very special, somebody very wonderful, I kept in touch. From time to time I would telephone, I would keep it going. Yeah.
Very rare.
And
right?
I still have people who call from 40, 50 years ago.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, like my music teacher from
Yeah.
Vienna. We've been writing letters for 30 years, I think.
Yeah.
So it's very extraordinary.
No, it's nice to have people whom you think are really contributing to your life or
Yes.
to your thinking,
Yes.
and use it. My friend Karen used to say, we are here to use each other, but not to misuse each other. And that is so true.
That's
If
beautiful.
I have something to offer, why not share it?
Yeah.
It's there. I'm going to take it in my grave. Who has anything?
Right. True. I know. And you're very optimistic.
Yeah, I'm in some ways, it seems to me, much like you're thinking. We're on the same beam.
Yes.
This is what attracted me with your first letter. That was open. It reached out and said, here's my hand. Do you want to take it? Take it. And I took it.
You took it. That was such a beautiful thing when you called beautiful. I mean, what did your father do? Was he a professional?
My father was an engineer. He did mechanical things and technical things, and he was an inventor. He invented something which he used in Germany, and he worked with a cousin of Hindenburg, who was a big chancellor and very well liked in Berlin and in Germany.
Wow.
And his invention took off. And when we emigrated, he had to start, when you think of people in their 50s who had made a living and saved enough and suddenly leaving everything there and starting all over again in another language. So that is an amazing thing what our parents did. And as kids we never gave them credit because we were too busy making a living, too busy to... When people ask me about fashion or they ask me about what I feel about certain superficial things, I really don't know because we were so busy every day to make
To survive.
with what we had,
Right.
to help our parents. I mean, I made $13 a week. But I gave $10 to my parents, $3 was my car fare and whatever I needed. Everything was 5 cents. A cup of coffee was 5 cents. Making shoe heels was 5 cents. Car fare was 5 cents for the subway. I mean, everything was sort of completely different than now.
Different world.
Different world.
Yeah.
Completely. No, you don't see kids doing that for parents now. I
No.
mean, it's just totally different.
I mean, we were brought up, I mean, in a way with respect.
Yeah.
And with noticing that another person has a right to, you know. And many young people who come to me, I have to tell them, you know, when you have a difficult relationship with your partner or your lover or your husband, your wife, have you ever thought of the other side? Have you ever thought of your other partner, what they feel? If you take out time, you will save yourself a lot of headaches because your understanding will be so much more.
So right.
Yeah.
So
The
right.
French have a wonderful saying. They say, "À comprendre tout, c'est à pardonner tout." To understand all is also to be able to forgive.
That's right.
Yeah.
See, again, that's very evolved,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
People spend years going to yoga retreats to learn this.
You learn from every language. Every language has certain things, and you cannot really put it into. You can put it in, but it doesn't have the same sense.
Same meaning. Like
You know?
Yiddish, like some of the Yiddish
In
expressions.
every language.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Do you speak German now at all, or no?
fluently.
But-
I never forgot it.
Wow.
And I fluently speak French.
Excellent, madame.
And I even speak some English. I speak a tiny bit Italian,
Italian?
and
A
a
little?
tiny bit Spanish.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. So did you study art in New York?
I studied
Formally?
it already in Germany. I had
Germany?
very tough teachers,
Sure.
and my parents registered me in a school which was way out. My parents didn't know that. They only knew it was a good school, it was, something, but they didn't know how way out it is. I tell you what they did. They had a big ball once a year to fundraise. Marlene Dietrich was with a fisher net and nothing else, and a bouquet of violets on her crutch.
Keep their attention.
Yeah, but I mean, my parents had no idea what that,
Good, right? It's a good thing.
they wouldn't have let me go. But I had a Turkish teacher, and I had different teachers, and they sent me out to make sketches. I had a countess. I had to do sketches because it was cheaper to have a sketch done than have a model, by a model,
Right.
And I was about 11, 12 years old at the time. And so I worked all the time, and I loved it. But it was also very strenuous to fulfill something which is expected of you, But it was an interesting experience, yeah.
Did your parents, were they alive to see you as a successful painter?
My father was a very honest, very bright man, but he wasn't very sentimental. I don't think he ever kissed me or hugged me. My mother was full of love and full of joy and full of poetry and so on. It was a marriage which was met at the time. The parents made the marriage. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he earns a living, This was a marriage. And I think she was in love with somebody which didn't work out, and it was like a comeback to it,
Yeah.
But I mean, and at the time you didn't get divorces, you made do.
You just stayed together,
Yeah.
right?
And I must say, my mother had very nice common sense, but she was theatrical. I'd become very much like my mother. My
Very
father
joyous.
was very logical. He would give my mother money and say, take the child and go on vacation. He wanted his peace. He wanted
Quiet.
No. I mean, it wasn't a marriage which was like what you see in the movies, like loving and kissing and
Right.
coochie-cooching.
Right. Nothing really is ever like that.
Yeah, but I must say, when I looked in retrospect, and I look at myself, the persona which I've become, I must say, in spite of everything, I really have become my own person, and not accidentally. I cannot say how lucky I am. I worked at it,
You did it for yourself.
and I'm still working. I still sometimes ask myself questions about all kinds of things, how I feel about this, and why do you feel about that. When I met Ayn Rand, I painted her. You see that paint? That is Ayn Rand on all her book covers.
You see
Do
where?
you see this?
Is that right here?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
You can take it out and make a photo of it.
Okay.
Anyhow, when I met her, and she loved young people around her and lecturing, and whenever somebody would say something to her, she would say, why? And most of the time, you didn't know what to answer because you never thought that far. But if you ask yourself sometimes when you have a problem, why do you have this problem? You have an amazing answer. And sometimes it's no more a problem.
That's a great idea. I have to do that. I have to try that.
Absolutely.
I love what also you said, Ilona. If you're lucky enough to live a long life, you should share what you've learned.
That's what I'm doing with my book. This is what I do with the young people around me. That's which anybody, whatever I have discovered, I like to share.
Which is very rare, because people like to keep their knowledge.
Yeah, but what good is it keeping
I
it?
don't know.
You know, my philosophy is there's room for everybody. There's no need for all this jealousy and all this thing. I mean, of course, we cannot generalize and we cannot speak about the world. I think we have rich people who are beyond rich. I mean, they're trillionaires, not only even billionaires, and they're people who have no roof and no food.
Right.
This, I don't think, is fair.
Right.
It's a horrible...
And it's becoming more and more. And you ask yourself, these rich people who grab more and more, what good is it? Is it a power drive? And when they have the power, what good is that power?
It's not feeding the soul, right?
Well, it's even if you let the soul out of it. I mean, you can only wear one piece of clothing.
Right.
You only can wear one car. You have only one behind.
Right.
So you can't dance on 3 weddings.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But anyhow, you see, there is a reason behind these things. When I'm thinking about that, it's neither jealousy nor anything. At this point of my life, I don't need money. Not that I have that much, but I have enough for food. That's very important.
Right.
You need
Health,
food,
doctors.
you need a bed to sleep in, a roof over your head, and a bathroom.
Right.
Very
Simple.
important. If you have that, then you have all the things which you really, really need. And if you have people who love you, you have a bonus.
Yeah, that is a bonus. But the ocean is so. It's to me that's
it's
worth gold.
Well, in my book, I will write. It has given me so much. Just looking out, the eternity, the enormousness, and every day, it doesn't stop.
It's infinite.
Yeah, and you can learn from it. You can learn so many things watching what is happening in nature.
The birds.
And some is good, some is bad.
The tides.
Some is mediocre. But most of the laws have been man-made. The good and the bad. And the idea of perfection, which is very detrimental often. Because everybody wants to be perfect, which reminds me of that wonderful movie, Some Like It Hot.
Oh,
you remember
we
the
love
last
that
thing
movie.
when he said, "But I'm really not a woman, I'm a man." He said, "Nobody's perfect."
The last line.
I thought it was so perfect.
That was
But
wonderful.
perfection. You can have the most perfect woman or man. There's always going to be somebody more and less.
Right.
So, I mean, what is that striving? When you think about it. But for that, you have to reach a certain age, I guess, because when you're young, you want to see everything, experience everything. I remember how curious I was, and how much I wanted to learn, about everyday life. When I came to the United States and I was very strictly brought up, I got crazy in seeing my freedom. I would go to strangers and say, "You look so nice to me, I would like to get to know you." Sometimes, most of the time I was stupid and was not good. I didn't want to after a while. But once in a while you hit it right,
But that takes a lot of courage to say that.
But I was so hungry for people. And to express myself,
And then people came to you.
Yeah. I bought the cheapest things. I couldn't afford more than daisies. I made an arrangement with a flower shop to give me the broken up ones, and I paid them a few pennies a week. And then when I went in the subway and I saw the conductor had such a sad face,
You
I
gave him the
a daisy.
daisies?
Or somebody looked like
You did.
I gave him a daisy. When I went out, I had a whole bunch of guys following me. They thought I'm a prostitute. That's my way of, come on. I said,
You
what's
just
the
did
matter
it-
with people? With you people? Can somebody be nice to you?
Right?
But I didn't give them away again.
Ah, that's so funny. That's funny because I've done that, giving people things and they get the wrong idea. It's like, why are you giving it? Because it makes you feel good, right? It's
Yeah.
a joy. It's a joy.
You know, that reminds me, I was around the corner on Hudson Street
Uh-huh.
one day, and there were some workers who worked on the side of the park or so on. And one man was a little older man, and I was resting every place I found, a little flat place, I would sit down. And so I was sitting down, and this man came, and I thought he has to work there. And I said, I'll be only for a few minutes here. He said, oh, stay as long as you want to. I can work around you. And I said, oh, that's not important. And I said, how old are you? And he said, I'm 69. And I said, oh, you're a spring chicken. He was so happy. He told everyone, do you know what you called me? Spring chicken. I'm a spring chicken.
It's
You make somebody so
Feel-
happy with...
so little.
I didn't do it in order to. I just thought that's natural. Everybody's younger than me.
That's sweet because people need to hear things to make them
Absolutely.
uplifted, right?
Absolutely.
There's so little of that. So many people I pass in the street, I smile.
Kindness.
Yeah.
You see, that's what I like about you too when you wrote me that. Because I have always had the same kind of a feeling when somebody is sad. There was one man who in front of the Beatrice Inn, they walked, and he had such a sad face, such an angry face. And one day I did have a flower, and I gave him the flower. And he said, what's this for? I said, you look so sad. And he said, really? I said, yes. His whole face changed.
Really?
He was so happy, you know, and I took his hand and squeezed it. And each time he saw me, he said, how wonderful to see. You know, it cheered him.
That's
Yeah.
such a beautiful thing. It takes
But
so
you
little.
do the same, and
I-
you do the same. It's
I
wonderful.
do. Like the dance, you know.
I got that from my mom. You know what my
My mother
mother
too.
did once?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had my studio on 57th Street next to the Russian Tea Room. And there's this big intersection on 7th Avenue. And there was a cop who was very angry looking and very sad looking. And my mother came to visit to New York. She was in California at the time, but she came for a week or so. And she walked across, she came back. She walked across, she came back. The cop noticed. He said, haven't I seen you do that several times? She said, yes. He said, why do you do it? She said, I do it for you. He said, what? Well, you looked so sad, I wanted to cheer you up. He started to laugh and he hugged her in the middle of him.
Oh my
He said,
gosh.
nobody ever did that for me. And I never forgot. And I thought, I'm so similar in his way, in her way, to want to do something nice for a stranger.
That's right. For a stranger. Exactly.
Yeah.
See? That's exactly how I think.
Yeah. You know what I did in the last 20 years? When I liked somebody very much, I asked them to come and I did their eye. I did one eye. And it made them so happy. And I'm in a book which was written by somebody. It's called Insomniac City.
Oh, I don't know.
And he is right on the square, Jackson Square,
Yes.
on that big building
Yes.
where he lives. And he has written several books, and his name is Bill Hayes.
Okay.
He had a relationship with a very famous doctor, Oliver Sacks,
Oh, yeah.
who also wrote. And in it, he came in the park to me and he said, "Can I take your photo?" I said, "Sure." So he took my photo, and a few days later, when I was again to rest in the park, he brought me some prints. And I was so touched, I asked him up and I did his eye. And in his book, he has My Afternoon with Ilona.
Oh my gosh.
Don't read the whole thing, it's several pages.
God.
But in it, he invited me to his place. And
Oh, look at that. Now I have to get the book.
and he showed the
that.
eye which I did of him.
Oh my God, how beautiful. Look at that.
Very antique style, you know.
Yes. Is that like pen, charcoal? What is charcoal?
And we still kept in touch. He is a very, very lovely man and very much isolated in a way, but also very interested in human beings and all kinds of people, you know, a people person.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what a wonderful thing.
He's right on Horatio Street, you know, the large building.
Yes, of course. Right. Oh my God, what a beautiful story, Ilona. And
I have a lot of them.
I know I could be talking for hours, but we won't because, don't want to take the energy. But one last thing I wanted to
But
say.
I want you to know one more thing before
Yes.
we go on. It is you who sends out the stream for my energy, which I have now.
Ah,
I want you to know that. Because if it weren't for you, I don't have to talk.
no.
I mean, I don't have the need to shine anymore. I have a shine. I don't have to prove anything.
Right.
And the less I have to do anything, the more I enjoy it because I have so little strength.
Yeah.
So I don't have to hear from people, "Oh, how wonderful are you?"
Right,
So,
right.
as a matter of fact, it bores me because I know how wonderful I am. I mean, it sounds funny. But
No, it's true.
it
It's
took
true.
me a whole 100 years to realize I'm really a nice person.
You must have known before that. But I love what you say. You're very poetic in your writing, and
I didn't know. Really?
well, yeah. You knew. But when you something made me laugh when you said sometimes when if you have trouble walking, you hold on to something solid.
Yeah.
And you said those are like your dance partners. That's a beautiful image,
Oh, yeah.
Just holding. It's like dancing.
Of course. And me, if something is a boo-boo and hurts me, I talk to it. I say, "Look, I'm so nice to you. What's the matter with you? What bothers you? Tell me. Maybe I can help you."
What's the expression my parents used to say? Was machst du? What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Was machst du?
What's wrong?
What do you do?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see if I have another thing to ask you about. Oh, how do you learn to cope with fatigue? Because
With
you're
what?
so vibrant. Fatigue, when you're tired, how do you cope
You
with...
lie down and just try to sleep. You have no idea how many times when you leave I lie down again.
That's good.
I have to eat a little bit. I make my coffee.
Coffee.
To lie down again.
Do you love
I have a
coffee?
big telephone. I lie down again.
That's good.
Yeah, I have very hard time, even the demi-tasse, which I have
To
to
lift.
lift. Yeah, because I don't think any younger person has any idea what it's like. The simplest thing, like putting on a coat, putting on a blouse, putting on a scarf, putting on an earring
Takes energy.
or hearing aid, is an effort. The things which you take for granted.
Yeah.
And that is still to this day amazing for me.
Oh, you said you said something very interesting, which I think a fashion designer should do. You said, "I would like a beautiful corset to lift your legs." That's a beautiful, fashionable, something
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, something which would make it easier with your walking or
Yes.
with your,
Why is that so hard to come up with?
sometimes when I cannot lift something, or I can't open a bottle, you see.
Right.
I mean, I need somebody to help me for the simplest thing.
Yes. We should, you know that thing that opens jars? You know, we have this contraption.
Oh, yeah?
It's just like a, how do you describe it? It's like a,
Oh, I know what you mean.
a
we'll
rubber.
We'll send you one.
I'll send you one. It's like
put it on top of the bottle.
and it opens it.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. It's
It grips it so tight. A little
How
twist.
wonderful. Great.
find you one.
Another question?
No, I just think it's just fun to talk and share and hear your thoughts. It's just a wonderful time to
Well,
experience.
you are helping me because it is not just a polite thing.
No,
You're doing it because you're really interested.
I really am.
And not only that, other people would be.
Yeah.
Because most people take things sort of, but they don't look at it. When something happens to me, good or bad or terrific or not, I look at it and ask myself, why did that happen? Was I instrumental? Was I responsible? Or what happened? You know, I like to know what is it that brought this situation into focus. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
And nowadays, many times when a young person said, I was so lucky to have such and such, I said, that isn't luck. You worked for it very hard.
You made it
Look
happen.
what you made it happen.
Yeah.
And most people don't take a responsibility, good or bad.
Right. Like, I wanted to talk to you, so I write to you, or
Yeah.
you reach out. And sometimes people don't respond.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter.
No,
Then it's the wrong person.
you did what you had to do.
Right. You did.
And this was wonderful. You wrote your telephone on it. I was so grateful I didn't have to look it up, ask somebody else.
I know. Little things
Yeah.
that matter, right?
Exactly.
Little simple things that people don't think about.
No.
But I'm very detailed. I've been criticized for my detail, but sometimes it helps, you know.
You have to also have time for detail. Sometimes you don't have to just consist out of detail.
Yeah.
But it's important sometimes. We wouldn't get anything done if certain details wouldn't have been in consideration, you know.
Are you writing another book?
Look, don't jump ahead of the horse.
Do you write every day?
I write when I have an idea and I want to express it.
Uh-huh.
The other day, in the middle of the night, I was thinking, why is so much rape? I mean, I'm sure it was in all times, only we didn't hear about it. There was no media. But still, why do we live in a time like that? Why? And then suddenly it hit me. Do you know, in the last century, women became stronger and stronger and really came almost into their own.
Mm-hmm.
I say almost because they're not completely, but they could get jobs which would pay the same and things like that. What does that do to a man? Have they ever thought the moment a man who was a breadwinner, he was the one to protect. He was the one, suddenly you take all that power away from him, say, I can do it, I don't need you for that. You know, for the average man who's grown up, a little boy, you're a boy, you have to be strong. That kills them. I mean, it really takes away all their self-feeling. And if women, it's not expected because any class of people who was pushed under, once they come into their own, they overtake it, they overdo it, because they're so happy to be free. But if we had an ideal woman, they would be smart enough to let the men still feel strong, and they know that they have so much, but not take that away from the partner, and have the equality feeling more, instead of I can do it better than you, or I can do it.
I think that's true.
You know, this came to me all while I was awake, and I've tried to figure out a solution
Just came to you.
for the world. Yeah, but I mean, you know, so many times in a marriage, when the woman would be a little givenish, and a little bit take it upon herself, even if it's not true, and let him feel better.
More like it was back
Like trying to solve something in gentleness, you know.
not being
How
so
much
strong.
further would we go?
Uh-huh. It's a great philosophy.
Karen's niece and nephew, she was married to a Frenchman, and she lives half a time in Paris and half a time, and then she comes here. And they were, several years ago, they got a divorce, but they're the best friend now. Yeah, he has his girlfriend, and he comes, fixes her refrigerator and so on. And they come here once, 1 month in August. But anyhow, before they got a divorce, they were so angry at each other, and they came to me. I was like a guru or like somebody to fix it. And he complained how she wants to take over and everything. And when she talked to me alone, he is so stupid, he cannot accept anything which I say, and I know what I'm talking about and so on. And he accuses me of things. So I invited both of them up. And I said, let's play a game. Give me an example of what happens, and let's look at it. And he said, all right, ladies first. So she started to say, when I say, would you vacuum, please, or so on, and he doesn't do it. By the time he does it, I've done it 3 times over. I was so much faster, so on. And he said, you see what she said? I did it right away, and so on. And she accused him right away that he's lazy, that he didn't do it right away. And he said, you see, this is how it starts. And so I talked to them separate. And I told her, you know, next time, when you have a problem, why don't you hug him and say, darling, would you do me a favor? Could you do that for me?
Great.
World of difference.
She came back, she said, it worked. But only for a couple of days. Then she
Went back. It's hard to maintain a change of
Yeah,
behavior.
but you know, it just shows you there are several ways of dealing with something. And it doesn't have to be the anger. And it doesn't have to be, I'm more than you.
Exactly. It could be just the appreciation and the generosity of spirit or grace.
You have to be able to let go of your own ego.
Yes.
Often. Because what the hell does it matter?
It doesn't
really matter.
Right, it
If
doesn't.
you
What are
have
you
to be
proving?
Right.
Well, I think we'll stop because...
Did you have that on it?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because I think this was very, very important for the whole world.
The world needs...
Because we have now a terrible difference between the anger between female and male, unnecessary.
Should be just all...
It should be you help each other, you comfort each other.
Cooperation.
Yeah. But
team.
Why is it necessary to do more, to be better, to overdo it?
The ego.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, it's a you said it's a world of difference, and my radio show is called Mia's World, and this is Ilona's World, so thank you for sharing your beautiful wisdom, Ilona. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for asking all these questions which brought it out of me.
And that was and is the amazing Ilona Royce Smithkin in all her glorious exuberance and spirit and grace and laughter and words of wisdom, pearls of wisdom. Now she's gone strong at 100, and the latest book is 99 Straight Up No Chaser. And I just wanted to read a couple of sentences from Ilona's wise brain and soul. Remember, everything in life is temporary. Moments piled upon moments. Some glitter, some sparkle, some are dipped in darkness. But even darkness can bring relief sometimes. Find something funny or amusing in any negativity you encounter. I promise you, a smile beats a frown straight up. That's Ilona Royce Smithkin, and I thank you so much, Ilona, for your beauty and your wisdom. And the publisher, by the way, is Fourth Chakra House Publishing. Thank you, Ilona. Thanks to my beautiful, beautiful friend, Ilona Royce Smithkin. Thanks for listening to Mia's World. And we'll see you on the radio next time. Mia signing off. And we're going to go out with a song by the McGuire sisters. Sadly, the last sister, Phyllis McGuire, died December 29th, 2020. And this is the beautiful Good Night, Sweetheart from the McGuire sisters. So good night, my friends. Good night.
Bustling, buzzing around, happily awaiting at the station. Look at that train number 709. It's a hopping and puffing and coming on time. Who do you think's about to ride? The band they call the Dixieland Five. Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da. They're gonna play that muskrat ramble tune. You've never heard it played. Join in the big parade. All together now, one and two. Join that happy throng. Feel the beat of that rambling, scrambling muskrat song. Come on and ramble along. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart. Good night. Well, it's 3:00 in the morning. Baby, I just can't treat you right. Oh, I hate to leave you, baby. Don't mean maybe, because I love you so. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say good night, sweetheart. Good night. Now my mother and my father, they might hear if I stay here too long. One kiss and we'll part, then you'd better be going. Although I hate to see